Six pack Lapidat. We got Alba Ballstrom, who just put on a clinic at Junior Worlds. I was talking to people in the DMs about your performance, and this had been, oh, I don't, I, even though you're only 22 years old, it kind of has been a long time coming. Like, it's weird because when I heard you were going in Junior Worlds, obviously you were already at Open Worlds. I
Yeah.
remember I was thinking, like, is she still a junior? Because I remember you. Like, you were a junior like years ago, still competing. Like, you've been competing for a long time. And you're
Yeah.
like a veteran. You've been around. So I was like, holy shit, she is still a junior. But talk about in terms of a performance, your total would have won the open world championship, was just a few kilos away from the world record, which is held by Krolagara, who's like an all-time great Hall of Famer. And you're a few kilos off from her as a junior. Your junior total would have won the open, and your total was so high as a junior, you would have won every weight class up except for 84 plus, including the 84s. Like, that's how crazy. Like, that's a remarkable performance in your this is your final junior worlds, right?
Yeah. 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 I
I mean,
just
it
I
freaked
just
me.
turned 23 though, so it's my last
Yeah,
one.
so it's okay. You are officially in the open now. But my
Yeah.
God, what a way to end your junior worlds. Was this everything you would have hoped for as your final junior worlds?
It's not everything, but at the same time it is. Obviously, I know we're probably gonna get into that, but I was supposed to compete against Yad, and I was actually
Mm,
really excited for that. So I found out the day before that Joey has texted me because I didn't have Instagram, that she pulled out. So that was really sad. So obviously that would have made it even better if I actually got to compete against her because I was excited for it. And then I must be honest, I wanted to break the open world record because I knew I could do it. And then in the end, with how things turn around, I just knew that okay, I had the choice. Basically, Joey asked me, "Do you want to go for best lifter or do you want to go for the open world record?" But I would have to pull 232.5 to do it. And 5 kilos more, I knew 100% I had 227 and a half and that would be tough. So 5 kilos more, and I kind of just wanted to end it on a good note and like get
mm.
all my legs and give everything that I got. So that's something I kind of regret. That would have been fun, but I think, I'm going into the open now. It's still a possibility in the future. I obviously hope to get it in the future instead. So, but I'm very happy that I got close to it. And obviously, I've been around since 2021. I've been doing Junior Worlds. And
Mm,
you people say, I heard you say it a few times that I'm like a veteran in the game, but at the same time, I've been losing out on Junior Worlds for so many times, and
mm.
that's tough. So finally being able, like, it's my last chance. If I don't get this, I can never, ever in my life get it again. And having lost so many years in a row, it felt amazing to finally be able to get that one.
100% that if this is your last one, not only win but win best lifter, go for that because the open world title, you're gonna have plenty of kicks at the can for that. Like, you're in the open now. That's gonna
Yeah,
happen. You can't double back in how you close your junior career. You can't double back if you went for that open world record and possibly missed. Then you'd be like, darn it, I could have went for
yeah,
the open world record in my next, Euros or whatever. But now you can't go back. You have the junior world title and to be best lifter. I mean, what can you say about that? But
yeah.
so going into junior worlds, I also was super excited about Jad Jacob moving into the 63s as a junior. I thought this. So what's your impression? I was thinking you have for Jad, who's the reigning world champion at 57. So she's a reigning world champ in the open to move up in the juniors. I thought this was risky. I was talking to Joey before Junior Worlds, and Joey was floating around the numbers you guys were hoping to hit. Which, like, spoiler alert, you hit them into the 550s and up. And I remember telling Joey, this was offline. We were talking before the
Yeah,
podcast. And so he wasn't going to tell all your numbers like on the podcast, but he was telling
yeah,
me, like, man, there's this people are going to be talking about Alba. And I was like, Joey, those are numbers that would win the open. could take a world title. Like that's like a world record. And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, holy smokes, let's see what happens. Um, so I don't know if do you think Jad and some people might not have expected because some people thought Jad would move up, and because she's an open world champion, oh well, Jad would be the favorite. But I think some people were thinking, I think she's setting herself up to take an L against you because I love Jad. She's phenomenal. All due respect, but she's not 550 plus.
Well, I was, this is the thing. I was all, so for open worlds, to be honest, I think I didn't expect my competitors to do as good as they did. So, and I think that's also a big part why I was not able to accomplish what I wanted because I did not really expect them to increase so much. And I knew that if they didn't increase so much, then I could sneak in on the podium. And so I kind of underestimated them. So this meet, I overestimated everyone. So I was thinking like, okay, I'm going against Yad. I probably need to do the open world record if I'm gonna beat her because I was just expecting, okay, she's moving up a weight class. She probably will increase. Jad almost always increases and does better every meet. So I didn't want to underestimate anyone. And it's the same thing when I found out that Jad was not going, I still was overestimating or like thinking, okay, Betty is still there, Hunter is still there. I don't know how much they have increased, but it's definitely not, I'm not going to expect this to be easy. I'm not going to go in like, okay, now I'm going to win or anything. I'm going to go in and do my absolute best because I was overestimating everyone. I knew I would be able to do 550 to 560, although that was such a big increase in total. So I was like, am I really gonna do that? Because it felt almost too good to be true. But my training numbers, all my PRs in training was above 560. So I knew, I could hit it. Um, but I was like just overestimating everyone, thinking that they might be able to do that, just to not make the same mistake as I did for open worlds and be like shocked when people do well, because I can't have that coming because people are always gonna come in and get better. But it was really exciting to have to go against Yad because for open worlds, I was really afraid for having competitors. And so after doing that, I was more comfortable with it. And when I found out I was going to go against Yad, I was like, yes, now I get another
Mm.
fight. And now I started to kind of like to have that fight. So even when Yad didn't go, I like turned the entire meet into it's going to be a neck and neck battle in my head.
Yeah, I mean, if Jad had appeared, regardless what happens, more eyeballs show up because it's a world champion. So people are gonna. It's good. People would have tuned in and seen your performance. Everyone ended up seeing your performance anyways because it was so dominant. But it just brings more eyeballs to it. I mean, just to accentuate how dominant a performance it was, we talk about how your total would have won every single weight class all the way up to 84 plus, including 84. And the weight class below you was over 100 kilos away. Like there's no possible chance, hey, should I move to 63? Now you're gonna want to stay where you're at. 100 kilos. Like you decimated everybody around you. It was crazy. You don't see this very often.
No, and the funny thing is, so going back to that, I said I was kind of intimidated by competition in the past. So since starting powerlifting, basically when I started, I went up to like sub junior nationals, and whenever I went to a competition, I was working really hard, but I managed to win and be like always in a guaranteed spot to win my nationals. And so when I did my first international meet, it was the Nordic Championships that we have. Doing that, I was always able to win with quite a big spread between me and the second place holder. And from doing that, obviously you kind of get used to it almost. And I kind of always,
Mm.
I want to always be in front because I don't want to have competitors.
Sure.
Just because I honestly was afraid of it. And then, I did open worlds just because I was so uncomfortable. I didn't want to do it at first because I was like, I won't have a spread, so I have a guaranteed win. And then I, realized I will never have a guaranteed win. It's just my fears speaking. So I decided to, confront it and get into competition. And so it's so funny now that I go into junior worlds, I finally like competition. I'm no longer intimidated or afraid of it. And I actually
Mm.
like want to have it. And that's when I all of a sudden get a huge spread. And I had no idea I was gonna out total like the weight classes above. But if I knew that, I wouldn't have cut down to 63 because that's kind of hard sometimes. I was
Like,
spitting almost like a kilo in the day. So it's like,
no,
but
you could have been in 84. It's, but I mean, not
wonder
with
how
best
strong I
lifter,
would
but
have been then.
yeah, yeah,
But it's so
exactly.
funny, that it finally comes, when I decide to not be afraid of having and thinking like, okay, it's gonna come down to the last pull. If I make a single mistake, someone is gonna come in and go from behind. If I miss a single squat, I'm like screwed. And
Mm.
I get comfortable with that. And that's when I finally like I didn't really know. Yoey, they told me in the opener of the deadlift that we were gonna secure the win with opener. And I was like, no, 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 no. I need to do at least 220. They're coming up from behind. I had no idea. I was not
So
looking.
you're like, I don't believe it. I don't
No, I
believe
don't
someone's
believe
gonna.
it. I was like, have you checked if they do count on everyone doing like at least 10 kilo PRs on deadlifts or something? Do I still win then? Are you sure?
He's like, you're 60 kilos ahead, young lady. It
Yeah,
would
I
take
found out
a
later,
miracle.
because I was not happy with lowering the opener to secure the win at first because I wanted to open a little bit higher. So I was like, I was not like prepared for that, so I didn't really understand it. And they tried to not talk to me so much so that I could like rest because the
Right.
meet was just 7 lifters. It's a fast meet.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking, okay, this is gonna go fast. And they were trying to like keep me not talking, just keep me in my corner to take it easy and relax. But all I was thinking, like, what are they thinking? We're gonna make
No,
a mistake. And then I heard Joey like tell someone she thinks she needs 220 to win. Like in Joe, and I was like, okay, I guess because my partner also was there and he was like, it's fine, just listen, just listen. I was like, okay. And then I listened and it turned out okay, but I didn't want to believe it. I was like, no, no, no. I've been failing every junior worlds that I've been doing, like all of them. I've been failing and falling short. So for me, either way, I was like, I'm gonna go all out and do my absolute best. I'm not gonna miss a thing. I
mm,
cannot afford because even if I would have won, but I would have missed that last pull, I think it would have meant the same thing. Because for me, it's been so hard. It's not possible that all of a sudden it's easy. It's not in my head at least. It has to be hard still because I've been fighting for it for so long.
yeah, when you're hearing, look, we're going to lock this up, your opening pull, and we're going to lower your opening pull to lock it up too. You're like, that's too good to be true. How can that be possible? You're like, no, 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 no. Run the numbers again. Be safe. And Joey's like, this
Yeah.
is safe.
Yeah, because also we went a little bit lighter on the squat that I wanted, and like according to plan, because we went 193 because it's the exact same thing as 195. If you look at it, since everything is like 2.5 kilo jumps. So Joey like knew that okay, if we do 193, it's the same for the total, basically.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, fine, we do that. And bench, I just wasn't in the best shape. I've been in better shape in training than I was on meet day. So, knowing like those two, I was like, no, we need every single lift. We need at least 220 to win or more even. So, yeah, but it's fun to like look back at it. And I'm very happy that I kept that mindset so that I didn't go like, okay, I already won and made it easy, but that I actually gave it my all until the last pull.
You can't take your foot off the gas. How many times we've seen people win a world title, come out for one more lift? It's already locked up by the second deadlift, we'll say. Once you ease up a little bit, it's not the same. I've talked, and they missed the last lift, and I've talked to them afterwards, and they're like, if I needed it, I think it would have been there for me, but I didn't need it, and I knew I didn't need it, and it wasn't a record. The record was too high up or whatever. So it was like I'm just padding my total, and you already won, so you're already like half celebrating. It's just there's a difference. Tension doesn't feel good. Anxiety doesn't feel good, but it's necessary. When
It's
you
very
feel that in
necessary.
life, it's not, but I tell people when you feel it in life, it's not a bad thing. It feels bad, but you're in a moment.
Yeah.
Usually you're in a moment.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's present isn't always a bad thing. And in competitions, to your point, where it probably did help you to never let your foot off the gas and tell yourself, hey, stay sharp. Somebody's going to come. Something's going to happen. Something's going to get overturned. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm right up to the last dead. I'm pulling like it, like my life's on the line. Probably
Yeah.
helped.
It did. And also, it's one of the things, that's why I'm so glad that Joey actually told me to do open worlds and that I did. Because at open worlds, it's been haunting me ever since. Like, I wake up in the night. When I wake up in the morning, I was thinking about this. For that last pull, I tried to pull 227 and a half. So the same weight that I pulled now. But I think I didn't give it my all. Because to be honest, went in and I was super calm. I was like thinking, just endure, you're gonna get this. But I did not go in like expecting it to be hard, expecting it to be easy, or be hard, or so. I was expecting that I was just gonna get it. And then entire meet, I wasn't nervous at all. And I think that was something that was bad. Because when I went in, I think I just didn't give it my all. I just went in, tried to pull it, didn't go. Oh well, I had nothing to lose. I at least came there, got a junior world record. And that's been haunting me because what if I had went in, been super nervous and gave it my absolute all? Because in
Mm,
prep before that, I missed 225 in training and then I retook it and it was just as heavy. I just grinded it more. I was just more fierce. And for training or at open worlds, that 227 and a half, I didn't give it my all. And that was haunting me. So this time I was like, I'm not gonna like entire prep for junior worlds. I'm not gonna make that mistake. I'm gonna be nervous as shit the entire meet. I'm gonna allow myself to be so, and I'm gonna go in screaming and like give my all for that last pull. And my heart felt like it was gonna come out of my chest when I was waiting to actually pull it. Like I was so in tune. And that's also why I like fell down on the floor and started crying afterwards because it was like, now it was done and I actually did it. So it actually meant also that I did better. I fixed the mistakes that I did at the last meet. And that's something that means a lot as well, apart from like it being best lifter and world title. It was like I won over myself and my own
mm.
weaknesses that I had in the past as well.
That's one thing that Joey is telling me. You're saying that Joey was talking you into go to open worlds, regardless what happens. And he was saying, I wanted her to do it for the experience of what you might gain from the experience. It can only be good, and you're still going to handle yourself adequately, but whether it lights a fire or just exposes you to what's out there, now you're ready. Now you got a taste for it. So now when you re-enter the open, it's a whole nother ball game now. And maybe it's better off. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Do you think, like, obviously it taught you to reach a little deeper and that there is another gear for you to hit? And I also love that you had said, because I think most of us have experienced this in training, missing a lift or grinding it really badly. It doesn't get any heavier, obviously. Same weight stays in the bar, coming back and hitting the exact same lift, and you hit what you missed just 5 minutes earlier. What happened there?
Yeah,
You didn't get stronger. Like, people
you just
think like
gave it
powerlifting is,
more.
yeah, there's something there. It's really weird. People think like powerlifting, well, it's just you and gravity, and it is what it is. Like, people talk about mindset, but that's just hokey. No, it's not. Like, it legitimately how you approach it. You can talk yourself out of it, which is weird. People don't know unless you've done it, and you see it in training all the time. Get you How many times someone's going up for the last single and other people in the gym will be like, get your head right, get in the game, focus. I don't understand myself. Like back in the day, and there's other lifters who still do it. Like LS McLean goes up to the bar and he's like smiling and laughing, and he's smiling to himself, and then he hits his last pull, and I'm like, I need that adrenaline going to the point where I'm like, oh my God, like, you hear those, you see those memes, people being like, what is that guy thinking before he hits his top single? And he's telling himself, if I don't hit this, my family dies. It's like really deep. Like, I need to hit
Yeah.
this. But there is like a big mental component.
Yeah. And I think it's also different for like every session, every meet, it's different. And that's the thing, like for me, I've always previously been trying to copy the mindset I had for one lift in the past. And I found that I usually lift the best when I'm calm. But the factor that's gonna come in, I need to be nervous. Like I need to be shaking. Like I'm supposed to be
Mm,
shaking. That's when I know, I got it because I'm really nervous, but I also need to be calm. I can't go screaming and doing whatever because I've been a lifter that's hits my legs, so I get bruises because trying to get so much adrenaline, when I was new into the sport. So I need to be calm so I can focus, but I also need that adrenaline. And for this time, I was like, what I was telling myself was 6 years, Salva, 6 years, 6 years. And I had tears. And Sammy, my partner, he was telling me like, you were very emotional. And like I was almost crying going out to the platform. And for me, I cannot be mad. If I'm mad, I'm gonna screw up. I cannot lift on
mm,
being mad. I think I'm a habit, but I can get very emotional. And for me,
mm,
that works. And I think it's all about like finding which mental state do you need to be in. And it may be different from different days, and it may be different for different lifts. Like I cannot go in and, scream for bench press because I need to focus on technique, for example. And
yeah.
for squat, I need to be very calm. But for deadlifts, that's when I need to gear up and get very fierce. But I was very emotional this meet, and he was telling me like, I think it worked well for you. You're probably a very emotional lifter because I had tears for the last bench as well. I also had tears going in and was extremely afraid because Joey went higher in the second that I felt was almost there and he challenged me. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to get this. So I was afraid for a lot of lifts this competition, but I'm very happy that I was because I need to be kind of in that state. I have to have that fear in me because that makes me perform in a sense. And previously, I would always like just push it away because I don't want it. But
Mm.
now, I can embrace it.
What is the significance of 6 years?
Well, I've been doing powerlifting for 6 years now, I think. And so I've been training for seven, but I think it's 6 years. I keep questioning myself because I'm losing time now, being in it for so long. But since I started, I've been dreaming about junior worlds. And the first year when I got to juniors, obviously COVID, so that didn't happen. 2019 when it was in Sweden, I was watching everything, and one of my biggest role models still is, just because she was at that almost Ida Run, who won the 72 juniors
Yeah, I
back in
remember
20.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching that, dreaming about being there. And that was my second year in powerlifting. And then, the year after that, obviously COVID. So even though I got to nationals as a first year junior, and I rose to the challenge of competitors for the first time in my life, won, which was amazing. Obviously wanted to go to junior worlds. COVID happened. And then the next year, 2021, it came, lost. 2022, lost. 2023 last year, lost with 2 kilos. And because I screwed up. That time I actually was probably maybe even strong enough, but I screwed up. And now it was the last time. And that's like 6 years of it. Because ever since I started, I've been wanting to, like, Junior Worlds has been a stepping stone. It's never been the end goal. But I always felt like to get to the point where I want to get, one of the steps is going to be Junior Worlds. Because if I can, that's going to be like my first challenge. And when you have like a goal of a stepping stone, like you think of Junior Worlds as a stepping stone. And a lot of people say juniors don't matter, no one cares about juniors. But I've learned so much. The only reason I'm at where I'm at today is because I've been through so many Junior Worlds. So I think it matters a lot. And I've always been having this as a stepping stone. I need to achieve this to prove to myself and get the experience that I need to be able to get to the bigger point. But when you keep failing after and after, like all the time, when you're trying at a stepping stone that people say don't matter, then of course you're gonna have doubts. Like, can I actually achieve what I want? I never let the doubts sit because I was like, just keep going, even though they come. But of course they were gonna come. And now, being able to actually win, that's why I was like 6 years, 6 years, because you've been trying for this for 6 years. And now you actually have it in your fingertips. Now you can actually achieve it and actually get to the point where not only did I, win, but I also got to an open level, which means
Mm.
that I actually like proved to myself that you can raise, you can go higher. And that was so meaningful for me. To just be like, prove to myself all these years when you've had doubts, good thing you didn't listen to them because it is possible. So that's something that was so nice. I think I would have kept going if I lost. But it would have been devastating. But now I could quell all of those doubts. Like you were right to not listen to them. So that way I had that 6 years, and also why it's so nice to also be able to now I finally got to like the open weights, which is cool.
Was the perfect segue. This was not only 6 years, which, yes, 6 years of trying, 6 years of taking a swing at that. So this is it. And it's the last one. The last year's a junior. It's done after that. So how do you want to close it? And you could close that door on the juniors with your mind at peace. No regrets now. I mean, talk about a remarkable performance. And as you enter into the open, those doubts are alleviated. Oh, no, 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 no. My total would have won the open world championship. My total is just a couple kilos off the biggest total we've ever seen ever by Kroll Like you now it's like, okay, this is a nice progression. And to your point about junior worlds not mattering, I think people say things like that, but I think what they're doing is they're saying it in comparison to the open, but
Yeah.
they're missing like everything you said, exposing junior lifters who are teens and early 20s to international standards, international competition, the pressure of international competition, seeing people from all over the world. I mean, it's produced you. So when you go
Yeah.
into the open, you're not brand new to this. You've been around you've been literally all over the world doing this.
Like
You
open worlds
face
was
the
the exact
standards.
same. It feels the
Yeah,
exact same going to open and to juniors, really.
huge
But I
advantage.
think
Can
a
you
lot of
imagine
people,
that was taken from you? And all you ever had was domestic inside of Sweden. And then you go to
yeah,
freaking world with like Leah Babwa and Garo Lagara. It's like, oh my God.
yeah. That's crazy. But I also think, some people we need it as a segue. And I think a lot of people are talking like so many juniors, they get good at juniors or sub juniors, they get good as a sub junior, and then open is too big of them. But I think that's just how we teach them. If we teach them that they're gonna get there eventually, that if they keep going, they can get to the open level and get strong enough as long as they don't give up, then they're not gonna
Mm.
quit the sport. But because everyone is saying that, I think that then they're gonna think, okay, open, you have to be like this crazy super talent. I won't be able to get there, so now I won't be getting the fame that I was getting in the sub junior, so now I quit. I don't think really the people that are gonna go into the sport anyway, they're gonna stay going into the open as long as they love the sport and as long as they
Mm.
want to increase and get better. I think that's like the most important thing. And so it helps a lot, and also it can give, that early confidence as well. That's why I always did juniors, because I wanted to win and get, confidence so that I could have that with me going into the open, have like a little bit of confidence. Obviously, I lost a lot of times, but now I kind of got into that. But the good thing is, I know that the open now in the 63s, it's gonna be crazy hard. I may have done 554, but like everyone else is gonna come shooting for that. I think so many people are capable of it. It's like, I think for next Worlds, that total, it won't be good enough. And I think like it's gonna be crazy hard. So even though in a way, now I did a biggest 63 total for the year. I think Meg probably, got the strength for more than 552 and a half, honestly, for Worlds. I think she did. So I think even if I did 554 at like Open Worlds, I think she could have done a little bit more, to be honest, maybe. Because she's super
Maybe.
strong. Yeah, I obviously don't know because I'm not a psychic, but I think, the 63s is going to be super hard. And I'm excited for that now. Now I'm like, yes, because this year meant so much. And, I've been going through losing so many times, I'm not a stranger to it. So I know how to handle it. And I kind of I know that I just won't give up. That's what I can know. So I'm really excited for next year because I think that the 63s, the standard is rising so much, and that's amazing. So I know next year will probably be way harder than this year for me, but now I feel prepared for that at least because I
Yeah.
didn't do 530. I actually was able to do a total so big.
I think for some of the juniors that enter into the open, they could be a junior world champion and have that tag world champion beside them. And when they enter into the open, it's going to be tough, at least
Yeah,
initially. But in
yeah,
that case, and that might be a little bit daunting. And that's where some people might be like, okay, you're junior world champion. But when you come up, it's going to be different. It's going to be a rough ride. Like if you're in the 57s, you got Jack up waiting for you. no, Jad Jacob is a junior world champ as well. Like there's a lot of people come through the juniors, right?
Yeah,
But just not everybody's going to end up a star. Whereas like yourself, you're already competitive in the open. Like your total, we already said. So it's going to be a stitch different, but I still think it is important for those juniors if you're going to
yeah,
progress. And
exactly.
while you are immediately a contender in the open, I mean, you were a contender before this junior worlds, but afterwards, certainly, I think other people need to just realize it's the natural pathway, even if the natural pathway from juniors into the open is not an immediate contender for the title, that's okay. That immediate gratification has to be delayed sometimes. And people have to be
Yeah,
okay with that. You can
yeah,
emerge later in the game and you see it. It's a long game, like Meg Scanlon, we're talking about, is 35, a mother or two, and a world champion. Take your
yeah,
time. Jurens Kingamu, 35 when he won his first world title. Take your
exactly.
time. It's
Look at
okay.
Gustav Hedlund. He was a junior world champion. Then coming into the open, it took some
Yeah.
time, but now he finally won open worlds. But it's been doing this for like 10 plus years.
Mhm.
So it took time for like Gustav Hedlund. People can look at him now like, oh, where did he come from? But he's been around for a long time.
Long
It
time.
was, I don't know how many years it was since he won the junior worlds. I think it was his first open worlds in 2019 or something. The first worlds I was watching.
Right.
But that's also an example. Like he was good in the juniors, but it took him time to get, to a level that was, where he won. He was always good and competitive in the open, but until he actually, got it right where he won, everything. And so that's like it took time, but he just didn't give up. So I
Mhm.
think sometimes even if you're competitive, it still may take time as well. And so it's like actually the same as if you're a junior world champion, come into the open and it's like this huge gap. It might be the same either way. So I think people just kind of need to prepare them for that. So I think the problem isn't that junior isn't important or the age is too high. I think personally, I think we need to prepare people to like just try harder because the standard in powerlifting is getting higher.
Would you change the age of juniors?
No, I think not. I know some people that would have said so. I think it's a good thing, at least currently, because of when most people get into start powerlifting. People are starting younger, but I think that the sub-junior age to 18 is a good thing because I think that's when most people get started nowadays. And it's not very, very common to people to get into the sport when they're like 10, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
And so I think the ages are good. Maybe in the future that they should change it. But I think like the ages are pretty good because look at the champions, like some of the champions, like Meg, she's 36. Leah, she's 31 or 32, 30. I
I think
remember
she,
when she turned 30, but I
yeah.
don't know how long ago that was.
Yeah.
But Jurins as well, 35. So, it seems like that's Taylor probably also was like 30 or something. I don't know the exact ages,
When
but
he
I
first
mean,
won it. Yeah.
yeah, so look at the when most people in the open are, a lot of people are really competitive, has been that age. That may go lower in time because we got so many low like shooters in the juniors, for example, Tiff, Jad, and obviously Yo, they're there. But I mean, a lot of quote unquote old 30 is not old at all. But around 30, I think that's like a good open age as well. So I think in relation to that, 23 is kind of low, at least in powerlifting, because it's not like we're starting when we're 5 years old, like in hockey, for example, or
Yeah.
football.
I agree. Like the start, due to the relatively late starting age, I mean, how many people are lifting weights? You're right. Like I'm in Canada, you're in Sweden, two hockey nations. It's the same thing over there as it is over here. You got people playing hockey at like freaking 5. And
Yeah,
some people play soccer at 5. People play
yeah,
baseball. You're single digits when you're playing soccer, baseball, hockey, all those major sports. So it's different. Whereas in powerlifting, yeah, you're starting much. Most people probably in high school. You're already in your teens. And then you started gaining some strength. And while we do have some outlier juniors like Turbo Tiff, Espinal, yourself, who as a junior would be competitive in the open, there's a lot who aren't. We just talked about how you decimated all the other juniors. There's all these other junior world champions. They're
yeah,
world champions. they wouldn't be here if they were immediately shoved into the open. God knows where they'd be. They probably wouldn't even make a national team yet because they get
Yeah.
shoved off of national teams. So it's good to have these people have that exposure. So you don't want to make decisions based off of outliers because
Yeah. You want to make the
it's not
most of them.
right. Look at the bigger picture. Don't look at, well, Alba would have been fine in the open. Sure, obviously.
I
But
wouldn't have been like last year. I wouldn't have. I got an opportunity to go to Open Worlds, not this year, but last year as well. But I said no because I knew I wasn't competitive at that time. The only reason I was asked to actually go is because, I've been trying so hard in the juniors. So now I know I know the international stage. So, the coaches feel comfortable and confident with, okay, if Alba comes to the national team to Open Worlds, she can do well. She's a good lifter. She can learn from it. She's not all over the place. She knows the standard and those kind of things. So it's worth it as well. Not every national teams like picks lifters that they pick out in the same way, obviously. But I think, I got the opportunity earlier on because I learned from juniors. And I think a lot of national teams probably are going to look at that as well to
mm,
see, okay, have you gotten the experience before they take you out? Because it's, especially in nations, paying for the lifters as well,
mm,
because then it's a lot of money that they put out to actually, and they don't get anything in return. All they get is, they just want to have these lifters compete. And so I think that's a factor as well that people don't take into account. But I'm very grateful for juniors, at least. I'm very grateful because I learned a lot. And then I learned a lot from Open as well, of course. So it's going to be fun to go into it. Previously, I was like, I have been thinking that I have so many years left as a junior for ages now. And all of a sudden it's come to an end, and I'm like, where did time go?
yeah, you're telling me. Time flies, I'm telling you. Yeah, 100%. In terms of juniors going into the open, it would be the intangible. Can you meet the standard? How are you going to operate when you're there? Do we got to worry about you a little bit? Whereas you, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, like I remember you in Istanbul, Turkey, 2022 juniors, and me, you, and Gavin went for a walk into the town city because we're like actually slightly outside of Istanbul, which was like
Yeah.
it was pretty cool seeing it, like seeing the community and all the people out in the streets and like the stray dogs, but they're kind of like community neighborhood dogs because they were like
Yeah.
sleeping outside of shops, getting fed, and you could pet them and whatnot. But they're strays, so you don't want to be careful. But it was super cool anyways walking around and me and Gavin talking to you about like despite the fact you were, I mean, 2 years ago, so you're 21, 20 turning 21 or 21 anyways, young, but you were like what struck me, stood out to me and Gavin was how like regimented and disciplined you were despite your age. Like I remember, you know, you saying what time you get into bed in your like your structure and everything. I'm like, you're 20. They're 20-year-olds who like go to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, like and you were, I remember you were, it was so funny. You were like, yeah, I don't know. I gotta leave before the banquet, but even if I was there, I'd be in bed by the time the dinner was over. I mean, like you were very structured. And you were like even in tuned, like to yourself. Because I remember seeing you in the crowd, bumping in you and talking to you again, and you were journaling like your thoughts on the day and how you felt about it or whatever. I mean, I'll let you tell it, but yeah, you were wise beyond your years, extremely disciplined and wherever you were at, despite the environment you were in.
Yeah, yeah. I think a weird side story is we had this woman who could talk to horses because I've been horseback riding since I was 7, and we had a horse at one point. We still have it. It's just my mom takes care of it
Mm.
because she lives in a different town. But this girl could apparently talk to horses. But the first thing she said, I had no idea who she was. She didn't know who I was. Apparently, my horse told me that I was an old woman in my soul. Because I was an old
She's a
lady in my
horse
soul.
whisperer. Your
Yeah.
horse told the lady she's an old woman.
Apparently.
So,
No, but I think that obviously I've been loving powerlifting and since like 2 years before that, even 2, 3 years before I met you in Turkey. It said I was doing like a newspaper interview. I just told them I'm gonna be powerlifting until I'm 80. So it says that in a newspaper. Like I just love this sport. So for me, it's not really so hard to have my life built around it in a sense. And obviously, I got great support from partners and everything. And, me and my partner, Sammy, we live in the same way. We're both like 70 years old, like I told you before. We like to live in the woods, without neighbors. We want to have like a garden. We like nature. And we like to read and journal and stuff. And, I could definitely start knitting in the evenings in the future. Like soon,
Yeah.
I was knitting and taught to how to knit from my grandma when I was like 5 or 6. I loved knitting when I was a
Likewise.
kid. So it's like, I think it's just part of my personality to kind of be a bit of that person that just like likes to go to bed early and journal and stuff. But also, I've been going through a lot and I had to grow up early because, so basically, my family, we've struggled a lot with basically mental disorders. So, my stepmother, who I love so much, and my dad too, and my stepsister as well. But my stepmother, she's bipolar and also has
Mm.
like almost every other mental disorder that you can think about. And also my sister, we later found out that she's autistic, but we didn't know what she had. We thought it may be bipolar or something. And this is when I was like in sixth, seventh grade. And so at that time, growing up, my dad was working all the time and he had to take care of my stepmother and sister because there could be, for my stepmother, it could be in and out of mental hospital and it could be suicide attempts. So it was like he had to, when he got home from work, he had to take care of them and as well. So I just had to, make my own food early, grow up very early. And I was babysitting my little brothers on my mom's side. And as well because my mom and dad are obviously divorced. They divorced when I was 4. For me, I loved that at the time because I got an extra family and an extra siblings. It was so amazing. So, and I still love it because I have like extra families, but so I just had to grow up way earlier, I think, than most people. Like when I was in 6th grade and 7th grade, I would take care of myself. No one ever told me to study. No one ever told me to like clean my room. I was doing that on my own. And I think also it's one of the things, that's when I got like my dad's attention, not because he just wanted me to do that. It was just like when I could tell him that, then it would be, a little bit more attention to me than everyone else.
Mm.
And I think I just wanted attention sometimes. So, when I was good
Yeah.
at something, I got his attention. It could be drawing, it could be clean my room, anything. So I think I just grew up way earlier than most people do. And then when I was in like 8th grade, I got into the very worst crowds of friends that you can have. So I got some trauma there. And, that felt, for me, it felt like I lost my teenage years. Like all my teenage years were just lost. I just had to grow up, basically. So when I got into high school and I found powerlifting, my second meet I ever did, I was crying tears of happiness and I felt like a kid. Like I literally felt like a kid again. And that's when I kind of knew I love powerlifting. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. This is what I'm gonna do. I just knew it was my thing at that moment because how I felt. Because I felt like all these years that I lost, I got them back, sort of. And I think that's like, so it feels like I'm very disciplined, but I think it's just I grew up kind of early, so I definitely feel older than I am, although I'm only 23 in a sense. And my
Mm.
partner Sammy, he's 31, for example, as well. So I definitely feel like I'm probably in my soul a little bit older than I am. And so it makes it a little bit easier to be disciplined about things because it's more so for so many years I was doing things that I didn't like just to fit in. So now I feel like I'm doing what I like and what I want with my life and those kind of things. And so powerlifting is something that I love, and that's why it's easy for me to, basically fix my life around it because it gives me so much, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah. When you meet people, you see almost not like a finished product. Who knows, the product's never finished. You see them at that stage and you take them at that stage, but there's everything that led up to it. And so for when I met you in Turkey, you don't like, how does a person become as regimented and disciplined as yourself by the time I met you? Well, it makes sense. You had to be growing up there because nobody was going to take care of these certain things for you. And I mean, it could have went either which way, but as at a young age to be in the 6th grade, be like, my room is going to be clean. Where I stay is going to be clean. And to a large extent, I have a friend who's a paramedic and he says whenever he shows up at a place and it's a mental health issue, oftentimes the surroundings, the environment where they live mimics or mirrors their mental state. So if it's chaotic, there's stuff all over the
Yeah.
place, whatever, it's very much the same. So that's why it is important to try to keep, I mean, you don't have to be super stickler about it, but you could see where you might be looking for that as a kid when other parts you don't have
Any
control
control.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have control over that. You have control over small things like your room. And if you don't feel super comfortable and have a lot of control over certain things going on in your life at a young age, you will try to control certain other things. I've talked to a couple people who've come on the podcast, Sophia Ellis, Andy Riley, and a couple people who've like, I mean, championship level powerlifters. And they actually, at a young age, developed eating disorders. And it had not as much to do about food as you think, but
Yeah.
actually more the control aspect. Things are
Yeah.
going crazy. And how do I deal with this? I have complete control over it. And then all of a sudden you start taking control and it's weird. It actually alleviates tension to do it in a lot of ways.
It does for sure. And I definitely think that is something that I kind of transferred to powerlifting because also when I met Sammy, a lot of the routines that I have comes from Sammy. Like he deserves all the credit because when I was meeting him, he didn't have his phone after 7 p.m. During the night. He did not use his phone in the morning. The first thing he was doing, he was journaling every morning. He was reading, and I always wanted to do these things, but I was living with my sister. My sister were watching television and sitting on her and watching TikTok, in the
Right.
evenings, that's what we were doing. And, meeting him, I wanted to do this. And then I got the environment where it was simple, it was easy to do. And then we kind of worked on that. And it's more so as well as something that I feel good for because having had so many mental struggles and I also had an eating disorder. I've been binge eating. That's what I got after the bad crowds of friends that I had. I turned straight into an eating disorder because I thought, okay, I'm not fitting in. And, I also honestly think some of the reasons I was so sad and feeling bad and struggling with my mental health was because everyone else in my family was. So
Mm.
struggling with my own mental health, this is something I realized like now, a lot of years later, that I probably was doing a little bit to get attention, to be honest. And that feels weird, but I was just a kid. And, if I have an environment with people feeling sad, getting attention and love, then, me being sad and feeling bad means I'm gonna get attention and love. And all I really wanted was attention and love.
Mm.
Because I was small. And then, I basically started thinking, okay, what if I can just fit in? What if I could just get, for example, I tried, feeling sad. I tried getting into wrong crowds. Didn't work out. Wasn't good. Got trauma that are very personal. But, and then coming in thinking, what if I could just start to look better? What if I could get skinnier? Maybe then I could be one of the popular, cool kids that have friends. Because I was always teased. I have had a lot of trouble getting new friends. I could have a few, but I had trouble like being social and getting friends because I was talking mostly all about what I loved. And really, I was really loud and I was talking really fast and I was very short and, I was all over the place. And I didn't like realize how to communicate with people without talking about just what I liked and talking like screaming what I like, basically. So,
Stuff.
but as a kid, so, I thought, what if I could just start to look better? What if I could be one of the hot kids, one of the popular ones? So that's when, I started trying to lose weight. That's when I started training, and at the first, I was ashamed to train. I broke my phone being outside doing like home workouts and then I didn't tell anyone that it was because I trained and like dropped a dumbbell on it because I was ashamed because the crowds and people and friends that I had been with, they were making fun of people that wanted to look good. If someone was training to look good, they would make fun of you. So I didn't want anyone to know. And eventually my stepmom, she's been training a lot. She's been a gym instructor and everything. So she actually, got me into the gym and helped me like with exercises and stuff, and also helped me a little bit with nutrition. But I was watching YouTube, finally realized what calories are. And I thought,
Mm.
the less it is, the better it is, basically. And, just got super restrictive. And after a while, just ended up in, binge eating every single day and gaining all the weight and plus way more back. But because I just wanted to look good. So I got to an extreme of that instead. And felt really bad because of that. But then, when I was binge eating, I was eating so much and training at the gym. And yes, I had this one day where I'd binge eating so much. And then I went to the gym and I was doing like legs, I was doing like hip thrusts like everyone else. But I had been doing like 100 kilos maybe for tens until that point. And then all of a sudden I could increase to like 180 kilos. And I was dancing all the way home,
180?
like 180.
Wow,
But
okay.
I think it wasn't strict, to be honest. And hip
Okay,
thrust, it
still.
probably was a short range of motion or something, but it was so crazy that I could just increase to that because, I've been doing hip thrust for half a year and, I've been stuck sort of. And, that's kind of when I realized I like being strong. That
Mm,
feeling was amazing. And that's when I also realized a little bit that when you eat a lot, that's when you get stronger as well and you feel stronger. And it obviously didn't turn like this, but it went after that, it gradually like got better until it got to the point where I found out what powerlifting was and found out there was a powerlifting gym in my home. And I was like, okay, this feels like it's for me. I want to do this.
mm,
And then I started, eating. It still took like probably 4 years until I got completely free from my disordered eating. But at that time, it definitely started getting better because I was starting to eat breakfast. I started eating lunch in school instead of eating like peas and skipping breakfast and like walking 40 minutes to school, doing cardio, 2 hours of gym work, and then eating peas. Instead, now I was eating a breakfast, I was eating lunch, and then I ate a snack after school, and then I was training and I ate dinner and I ate a snack in the evening. I started eating real food because I started being so fit. And that's when I stopped binge eating as much because I wasn't as hungry. Because previously I would skip food all the day, all throughout the day, and then at like 3 p.m. I had the sweet tooth of my life, and then I could basically eat 10 donuts in less than 5 minutes. Like I was just punching everything into my mouth. So I, went through that, but I found powerlifting, felt like this feels like it's for me. I just know I felt this pull from it, and it ended up with I found this club where powerlifting gym where I lived, and there was this guy Fredrik Svensson, and he had been doing like 400, one of the first to do 400 kilos in equipped bench press, and it was a world record at the time. And I was like, whoa, someone in our town has a world record. That's like the coolest thing ever. So I told my stepmom this, and she was like, but don't you know that guy, he trains where your dad works? Like my dad has they have this warehouse where he's a diver, heavy diver. Basically, he stands on the bottom of the ocean and builds bridges. And so,
wow.
yeah.
Holy shit. Holy smokes. That's a whole other conversation, but wow.
Yeah. But so, they have this warehouse where they do repairs and stuff. And the strongman guys, they were renting out a part of that warehouse to have like as their gym. So he has switched, this Frederick, he switched from powerlifting because his body couldn't take it anymore to strongman. And, he was training there. So my dad would meet him from time to time. And then, she has said that I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then like 2 days later, my dad called me and he talked to Frederick and asked if I could come and train there with them. And I came and Frederick was like, you're gonna compete. There's a competition here and there. And I was like, yes, you know what I want. And then
Oh,
he
that
just
happened
started to
quick.
coach. Yeah. And for my
Okay.
first competition, yeah, keep going.
I was just gonna say, so sorry, did you say he started coaching you?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go on, go on. Sorry.
He was my first coach. No, but he just told me we're gonna do competitions. He started coaching me. We started training and this was when I just turned 17, and we started training for our first competition. And the night before my first competition, he told me, I'm gonna coach you to national, like the gold medal at nationals, national medals. I'm gonna coach you eventually to the national team and to worlds. And that's basically what he told me the night before my first competition. But now let's just do a good debut. So, I knew he understood what I wanted immediately, because before I started with him, I had watched like the Swedish nationals and I'd seen that the person that were last, they did the same squat as I almost did. I almost did the same squat as them. So I was like, the person that's last in like 2017, it was like 100 kilos or something in the squat. I was like, they do that. that means I can go to nationals. And I started dreaming. Because I always wanted to be the best at everything I was doing, in grades and everything. Um, I also at one point where I had a lot of issues with performance anxiety. I went to psychiatrists and everything. In school, had issues, but for powerlifting, it was a good thing. And I remember one of my psychiatrists when I started competing, she told me, "You will not be able to feel good about yourself and be healthy mentally and compete at a level that you want." And then I stopped going to her, and I feel
That's
so much
that's what
happy.
she's. I thought. Okay, when you said that, I thought she was about to say until or unless, but that was the end.
That
It's like,
was the
what are you
end.
talking about? What
Yeah,
thanks.
I was like, it didn't feel right. And for powerlifting, for me, it saved me. Like looking like, because now I was finally able to, in a way, fit in. I was able to, for the first time in my life, fit in. I was allowed to be like a kid. No one was bullying me or teasing me anymore for being like the loud person talking really fast. I could do that, and I could be like Alba, and all like that it means for me. And so I could be myself again in powerlifting, and then I could increase. And for me, I just wanted so much early on. And I remember like at the same time, sometimes I would get close to like, I think I was getting close to the sub junior world record deadlift and the sub junior world record total. And then, Samantha Eugene came in and broke everything. And I was like, everyone was saying, "Oh, wow, that French girl, what is she doing?" But I was like, I'm gonna do that too one day. Whenever I saw that, and I was like seeing people on King of the Lifts at that time already, like doing things, and no one else like really thought about it. People were like, one guy was at the gym was like, "You will never deadlift more than me," uh, basically. So it was like
That,
all of
that
these
you,
small things, but I don't know, I just never listened to anything, and I'm really happy. But it's just because I love powerlifting. It meant so much. I can't really put it into words.
the thing is, okay, so even when you talk about how previously it was difficult for you to express yourself because when you talk, you said you like speak loudly or whatever the heck. You talk very well now. Like that's just the past. You might have just, here's the thing. I think all of us to an extent when we're younger don't articulate the greatest. Like now, when you're older and you talk to people in high school, you're like, was I like you? Like people, not everyone's the same, for
Yeah,
sure. But I don't judge people when they're in the high school years and think like that's the way they're always going to be because
it's
they
not.
do not.
It's not.
It's not the case, you know?
I think I'm a little bit of the same, to be honest, but I found a way to make it a good thing. I found it
Mm.
like I found a way to make it something that inspires others to dream. Because back then, I think the people that were teasing me, there were people that, the popular ones, people just trying to be normal. And I never really wanted to be normal. And now I've embraced that I want to be different in a sense. I like being different. I want to be different in everything that I'm doing. That's why I never use TikTok because for some reason I've just decided I will never use it. I don't like it, because everyone else is doing it and I like to be different. I've kind of embraced that now. But as a kid, and I think especially if you're going through some things, you're gonna want to fit in. And back then, it was the entire world. What was it like? 13, like 14, like you're just a kid, literally. You don't
Yeah.
know much about the world, but it was everything. It was like, this is how my life is gonna be. And now I can look back, at that time, I was extremely sad. My dad wasn't around. Like, okay, I don't got a dad. Okay, I got a stepmom that's, sick. I was thinking this and this and that is terrible. And it's so sad for me. And now I can look back at it and be like, I got the greatest dad ever because he can love unconditionally and he never give up on the people that he loves. So I didn't get the most attention, but that was not because he didn't like me. It was just because the other people in my family, they needed the help. And
Mm.
they were supportive of me. No one was mean to me in any sense. I got the most loving family. It was just hard to grow up in because it was hard to know that I got a call and it was like a suicide attempt. Like one time when I got it, I didn't really know what that meant. Like even, I didn't know, am I supposed to really get sad about this? And that's when I knew like, I don't really know what everything means. I had like my grandpa passed away when I was very young, I didn't know what that meant. Everyone else was crying, so I just started crying because but I didn't know what was happening. And I think
Mm.
that's, I was so young, so I just tried to kind of fit in. And, now I can look back and be so, so grateful for everything, even the trauma that is very personal to me that I got from the wrong crowds, like even what I went through there, everything made me who I am today, the eating disorder, everything. And you all know also I got such a good role model with, my dad, because he really takes care of his family. Like, what more can I ask for? And he's always been one, he still supports me. He watched every powerlifting. He stops his entire job, like everyone in the crew, to watch me when I compete. So, and he's the one who got me into powerlifting. When I liked drawing, he would teach me because he was really good at drawing. And when I liked swimming at one point, like he was helping me, like everything that I've been wanting. So he's always been really supportive. It's just that he was also supportive of everyone else. And, he had limited amount of time because he was supporting for the entire family. So, now I can look back and be like, wow, I really got the best family. But when I was young, I thought my family don't care about me. It's because you're so young, you don't really, as well as like who you are as a person, things are gonna change. But it definitely helps make you to who you will be in the future as long as you can reflect on it and take lessons from it. And I definitely try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. When you're young, you have no idea what forever means when a family member passes. You can't fully grasp like 13 years isn't a long time. That's all you have being alive. And then you're not going to remember five and down. Like the amount of actual experience you have is like nothing.
Yeah.
Concepts, what death is, but you don't like fully grasp. You
No.
know, you don't know things until later on in life, until you go through them. And then you look back and be like, damn. And I mean, ironically, whereas earlier you thought like you're not getting attention, and you probably weren't as much as you'd like because I mean, people had to do what they had to do, like you were saying about your dad. But look at now.
Yeah.
I you 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 like people all over the world are going to listen to this podcast. Like you, in terms of attention, like what you did at Junior Worlds. I mean, I don't know how many people viewed it, but how many even viewed it live, to how many people saw the reels, saw the like the highlights, saw what you did and what you accomplished. And it's positive. It's a net positive. Like you found powerlift, you found your venue, and not only attention, but to inspire people in a
Yeah.
positive direction and in a positive way, and live a life of not compulsion or whatever, but disciplined and goal orientated. And you're proof positive to what being disciplined, goal orientated could do for you.
Exactly. And I think that's honestly the biggest thing because when I was a kid, something, like I said, I wanted to fit in, but I also felt like there's something more. I always felt like it's a weird feeling. I always felt like there's more. I can do more. There's some more potential that I'm not satisfied because, my dad or mom would tell me like when I was doing my first time of jobs, working in a stable, working in a store, hating it, having to go there when you were tired, work this hours and do something, I didn't love. And they were like, that's how adulthood is. That's what it means to be an adult. And I was like,
Mm.
no, that's never gonna be me. That's never gonna be who I'm gonna be. I'm gonna do, in some way, I'm gonna do what I love. And I was honestly ready to live on the street if that meant I could do powerlifting. Like if I could do
Hmm.
powerlifting, if I would have to live in an alley and but as long as I had food. So I would skip work for like 3 months when I lived with my sister, just so that I could try to just do powerlifting, because I just loved it. But the biggest thing is, I was thinking there's something more. And now I'm absolutely blessed to be able to coach extremely many people and have a group of individuals that we are coaching together with obviously Sam is in the back, he's not coaching, but he's made it possible and because he's owned businesses before, so he knows this. And also, of course, my best friend and co-coach Minal as well. So me and her were coaching so many people. So for this competition as well, something I have in my mind is I have to perform good for them because what I'm doing here is not just for me. Okay, of course, I'm fighting for, these 6 years. I've been trying. But what always felt close to my heart is showing that nothing is impossible. Just showing and like inspire people to reach your dreams. And that does not have to be powerlifting. It could be drawing, it could be tennis, it could just be like reading or being outside in the woods, whatever. But just when you're passionate and you like something, to actually like try to improve as a person. And that's why I try to be like, that's why, I really try to be myself. I am on social media, but I'm not always on it. Sometimes I just delete the app because I want to be the kind of person that can inspire others to go for their dreams, but also, be themselves and be in reality, and that that's okay, and that you don't have to do everything for show as well. But like, just it's so hard to put into words, but sort of inspire people to reach their goals, basically, no matter what it is. Because whenever I compete, I have my amazing clients that we're coaching, and they're gonna tell me either maybe they want to start powerlifting. And I usually, a lot of people I help are 30 plus years plus, so 30, 40, and 50. I have 60-year-olds starting powerlifting.
Oh,
I have a
wow.
lot of people going to master
Starting.
nationals. Yeah. And what we do is I start helping them with just, strength training. And then, get them started on strength training and teach them, good technique. But I bring powerlifting to everyday, like normal people, basically. And, then they get stronger and then they do 100 kilos, for example, for the first time in their life. That's life changing. When you do
Oh,
that, I ask them, how are you going to feel if you do 100 kilos? And they're like, what are you talking about? Can I do that? Then in a few months, I get them there and then we kind of trick them into doing powerlifting. And it's not like the powerlifting in itself that usually is the thing that, okay, they want to do powerlifting for the rest of their lives. They may not be like me in that sense, but, all of a sudden, they feel that they can be good at something. And that's what I was looking for as a kid. I just wanted to find something that I could be good at, like my area that I could shine. And everyone has that where they can be good at something. You just have to find what. And then I kind of prove to them that they can be good at something. So when I do that, sometimes my clients say, okay, I'm excited to start competing now. Or I'm motivated for my training or anything. They're just motivated to be better themselves. And that's the
mm.
best thing in the world. And since that's also like something that's driving me as well, that I'm not just doing this because I want to be good at powerlifting, but I feel like it's an impact. It's a bigger role. It's more than just like me. It's not just Alba and my selfish ego that just wants approval and people to say, Jay, you did good. That was strong. But like, I feel like it has a bigger purpose. And that's also why powerlifting has changed my life. It's not just because, okay, now I'm strong, now I can shine. It's because now I have meaning in my life. And I think that you can't be happy without having meaning in your life, like without helping people. So, when I go out to compete, even though I don't talk to the clients like the last 2 days before, for example, because, I'm getting ready, I know that I'm helping them because I'm going to inspire them and show. And if I can't help them unless I show the way to do it myself first. So that's like the biggest thing. And that's why like doing this performance is so good because, they saw how I lost at Open Worlds. And the first thing that I was thinking when I got off the platform, when I missed that 227.5 was like, fuck. They were watching that and I didn't even give it my all. And that was hard. I was like just holding here because we have like our Team Alba Bostrom logo here. And I was just holding here like, shit, why did I do that? And especially since it didn't give it my all. So like getting the revenge and like showing them, you can go through failure, but you can get better. And because I know it inspires them in a lot of more ways than just powerlifting. It's so much more like it's not just powerlifting, it's learning that you can be good at something and getting confidence for the rest, all the other areas of your life, for example. So yeah.
Pe- People, when they take up powerlifting, a lot of things powerlifting will teach you. But if nothing else, even if they never make like national teams or whatever, what you said was like, they're going to be better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. You are going to get better. Not many things in life are you like, you do this avenue, you're going to get better. And you're going to have numerical values attached to it. So it's proof is in the pudding. And it teaches you like consistency and discipline and what that you get out what you put in. Very few things in life are you guaranteed that. Life isn't fair. but you're guaranteed you're going to get out what you put in. You come in 5 days a week, you're going to get this, and you'll see the numerical values go up. And when you were talking about, like first off, like early on when you were younger and you're doing certain jobs, and your parents were like, "This is life." Just so you know, this is life. What you feel doing these jobs, I mean, nobody loves their job, but it is what it is. That's being an adult. And to a large extent, that's a lot of adults out there. And when I hear, sometimes I hear, and I don't know if it's real or if it's just people talking, but they're like, look, I'm the type, if I'm going to be a janitor, I'm going to be the best janitor in the world. If I'm going to be a bricklayer, I'm the best bricklayer in the world. Now that's
Yeah.
great. There's nothing against those jobs, but for me, I can't. If I don't love what I'm doing, like I can't fake the funk, so to speak. Like
No.
I'd be like you, where if I'm working a job, if I don't feel the passion, I'm not like, well, I'm going to be the best damn whatever in the world it is, insert mundane job. No. And it's not like, well, if you have that drive, you have it in everything you do. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You find your passion sometimes, right? So when you found powerlifting, it's like, this is mine. Here we
Yeah.
go. This is mine. So it isn't just a given, like you're saying, like you have to find it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I totally understand it. And thank God you found powerlifting. Like, look what you ended up doing with it. And for sure, when you reach other people and when you said when you're competing yourself now and you're thinking about these other people, it's one thing to let yourself down. It's an entire because you could deal with that and you could be like, I'll get back. It's an entirely different thing if you're thinking to yourself, holy shit, all the people that believed in me that were watching, that's tougher. And
Yeah.
and if you told yourself, I think maybe I quit a little early on that poll, on that whatever, and then you leave and you're like, shit, it's going to resonate differently inside of you. And it's okay to
Yeah.
care. This is human. You go through life, you're going to have hiccups. And most people don't have a lot of people watching. You got a lot of people watching. That's it's not a bad thing. It becomes a motivator to be like, you know what? Let me take this negative into a positive. This is an opportunity. This is an
Yeah.
opportunity. Yes, you saw this happen to me. Even I failed. Yeah, even I can quit on myself sometimes. Double down.
Yeah.
Redemption is 1 meter away. Double down. The way the summer started and the way the summer ended can be totally different.
Yeah.
It ain't over. Because no matter what in life, you're guaranteed to face something and you're going to let yourself down, let people down. There's no way around that. What
Yeah.
happens when you do? What happens when you do?
You can get back.
That's more important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's also like when you have, I mean, just getting back to what powerlifting can mean, like when you have someone that has like kids,
Yeah.
that are like 50, 60 years old and they have like kids that are adults, and when they think like life is ending, it's not ending because they're not old, but it's too late to get into a sport or anything, and those people can now start going and find something they can be good at and inspire others around them just because they're doing it. Because I have people, some clients that are like 50, 60, and they were saying like someone came up to me and said that because they've been seeing how I really push myself in training, they started pushing themselves harder. I guess from seeing that, it's like a butterfly effect. And from that with Worlds, they were like the redemption. Like Joey said so when I met him now in Malta, before the competition, he was like, we use open worlds as a stepping stone for juniors. And that was kind of fun because I'm so glad I did it. We learned so much. That's how we were able to do it. And it really became that. Summer didn't start so well. It went really well, but it didn't go as well as I wanted. But the summer ended way better.
Way better. Also, that one, it reminds me of that one quote um, where people would say, because you're super disciplined. And whenever you start straying from discipline, you remind yourself your lack of discipline is a disrespect to those who believe in you.
Yeah,
And that is where, like, it's one thing to let yourself down, it's another to let other people down. That's that
yeah,
reminder is like it's self-discipline. It's on yourself. Got you.
yeah,
But there are people who are looking up to you and they
yeah,
look to you for inspiration, they look to you for guidance. And when you let yourself down, that lack of discipline, You know, if you ever need motivation to get out of freaking bed or stay on course, it's you tell yourself that there are people who
Yeah.
believe in you more than you. It's one thing when nobody cares. When you believe nobody cares, lay in bed all day. What does it matter? No one will
Yeah.
notice. But when you think people care, people have expectations. You're gonna let them down. You're gonna get out of bed. you know, you'll get out
Yeah.
of bed.
It's
You'll
also
show
like
up.
now I'm like, if I lose another competition, I'll just keep going. Obviously, previously, to be honest, I've been expecting to lose, and that's like I had meets where I've been thinking I'm gonna lose because I've been so afraid of the pressure that I may lose because it's so tight in a competition that I tell myself I'm okay with losing so that I can run away from all that pressure that one is feeling. And because if I tell people that I'm gonna come second, then they're gonna be happy if I go second.
Yeah.
And but now this time I started to just decide, okay, I'm always gonna try to do my absolute best to like go all out every competition, like either way, even though, I may come fifth. Like even if that's the case, I'm gonna do my absolute best and I'm always gonna believe that I may win just because they deserve that. Like obviously I deserve that. And if I want to be, I can't go in and half-assing it at this level. Like the standard powerlifting is getting higher. I can't half-ass it. But also it's something that Sammy sometimes reminds me when I'm like, I don't want to tell anyone how anything is going right now or anything. For example, he's like, but try to remember like the role model that you also are for them. And the best way to do it is through your actions as well, like at the competition. So it doesn't really matter what I do in training. It matters what I do on the platform because they're not gonna take so much inspiration from what number I do in training. They're gonna take the inspiration from that I talk to them, I try to teach them, I try to make them better, and then when I go onto the platform, I also show that I am trying to get better, and I get better each meet. Like that's what it really is about, that I get better each meet because I'm trying to get them to, get better. Then I have to be able to show them that I'm trying to get better. How am I otherwise going to teach them how to get better? Like it doesn't work that way.
And proof is in the pudding. You know, it's interesting when you said how previously you would say, and it's 100% true. I've caught myself doing it, and I'm sure I recognize when other people do it. When people say like, "Look at, second be great, third to be great," and you're kind of prepping, you're preparing people who believe in you to prep for that. And if you get first, amazing. If you get second, that's what they expected. So you're kind of like measuring their expectations.
Making sure you're fine if you lose, but you have to take risks. You have to be like okay with the risk as well. And that's something I learned from Junior Worlds last year. Because then I was honestly 2 days before, that's when I started thinking, okay, Alba, shut up. You have to start thinking that you can win. You can't go in thinking that you're all of a sudden gonna win because you're not thinking you're gonna do so. So all of a sudden it's gonna come to you like, whoa. And no, 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 no. You have to think you're gonna win because all of the prep, even though I was just as strong, I was thinking you're gonna lose. You're gonna come second because I was so scared of competition at that time. So now that's something I learned from that year. And again, to the point of juniors, you can still learn a lot from it.
Yeah. And in some sports, other in sports where you actually go head to head, for instance, and you're actually like powerlifting, everyone has their 60 seconds on the platform. But there's other sports where it doesn't matter if it's basketball, soccer, whatever the heck, where you're like head to
Yeah,
head. If they hear that, if they hear somebody talking like that, they'll recognize you're ready to lose. You're ready. You have a
yeah,
safety net. It's in the back of your mind. When the game starts, I'm going to convince you that you can fall back on that and it's okay. You already told yourself it's okay. When the game starts, I'm going to convince you, just give a good showing. It's okay. You'll lose close. It won't hurt too bad. You know,
yeah.
it's you when you hear that,
It
you
definitely
start
hurts more if you're thinking you're gonna win and then you lose. But if you're thinking you're
like
gonna come second and you do so, you're like, whoa, but you're always gonna regret yourself. You're always gonna have that what if, and that is terrible. It's not nice that like, what
I'm
if
glad
I
you just said that.
did?
This is what someone else this other people sports psychologists have said. You're prepping yourself so it doesn't hurt as much. And if you full on believe that you're going to win and then you lose, I talk about Penna, Russ, those guys cried in the back because they believed they were good. They full on believed they're going to win and they lost. Hurt like hell. But in the long run, if you kind of gave yourself that safety net, I might come in second, and then you come in second, the pain initially won't be as bad. You won't feel like Russ and Pennock like totally blindsided because you full on told yourself I'm going to win. So the pain initially when it happens won't be as bad. 10, 20, 15, the rest of your life, you'll look back to your point and be like, why didn't I just go all in on this dream?
Yeah.
It was then. It was only that one day. Why didn't I just believe? And if I
Yeah.
lost, whatever, I lost anyways. It would have hurt more then. But now I have the rest of my life. I look back and like, what if I just gave a shit and went Gavin Aiden and burned my bridges, or
Yeah,
burned my ships?
yeah, for sure. Because I think, you're gonna regret, I regret 2022 Turkey. I had secured the silver already in the end, and I didn't pull for gold because I had been so prepared the entire prep that I was not gonna have a chance to get to gold. Like I was gonna get in second place. That was my thinking all the prep. And then when it actually got to the point, they were telling me, what do you want for your third? Because you already have silver. And I was like, oh, let's just do 195 for a PR. But I could have at least tried to pull for gold. And
Yeah.
that haunted me because I was like, afterwards, what was I doing? Like, I don't know if I would have pulled because I would have have to pull something crazy to win. But I had the chance to at least try because I had secured
Mm.
silver. Like, why didn't I try? And then all of a sudden the year after, I was thinking, I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose. And then, I got to the meet, started thinking I was gonna win. At least I regret less then because then I saw, obviously I lost and Ludovine was really strong on the day. She pulled the last deadlift, and I already pulled mine. She pulled after me. I saw it, and then I started crying so bad because I actually thought I was gonna win. Because I actually believed, because I taught myself to believe. But I think during the prep, I didn't think so. So, I didn't do enough because I was thinking I was prepared to lose all up until like the day of the competition, and then I started believing I was gonna win. But I regret
Mm.
that competition less than I do, for example, 2020, because I didn't even try, for example. So, and same with 2021, at least then I didn't have the opportunity to try because I had a hubris. I thought I was way stronger than I honestly was. I was all over the place at that time. I was not a good lifter. I was such a newbie and I was so nervous and all over the place. I missed so many lifts that were stupid. But at least I tried and think I thought I was gonna win. I ended up like 40 kilos behind top lifters,
Oh, Jesus.
Darnell and Chiara. I know I met you then because I got third. But
I know. I remember. I remember.
yeah, but I was all over the place. Like I used to make so many mistakes because in training I thought I could all of a sudden from out of nowhere squat 180 kilos. So I started overshooting every single session because I thought I would be able to do it. But in a sense, I regret that less because at least I thought I could do it. I at least gave it my all. It wasn't smart, it
Mm.
was stupid. I was not a good lifter at that time. I had so much to learn. But at least I gave it my all. And like having those regrets because it's still something that I still have that kind of regret in a sense of a what if for open worlds. And I have it a little bit now for junior worlds as well, because I'm like, what if we would have gone 195 in the squat instead? In a sense, or what if I didn't do this thing in training, so my bench would maybe have felt a little bit better on meet day, and I could have done at least closer to what I did in training. What if then I could have pulled to actually do the open world record? Like it's all fine. I'm still super happy about how the meet went, but I still have that small what if, and it's
Sure.
terrible. But it's also a motivator. It can also be a motivator because sometimes you're gonna have a what if. But I definitely feel like it's better to just go guns out and lose in a sense like afterwards like a few days after, or weeks, or a year after, when you can think back. And one of the things I think in powerlifting, I just want to be like an old grandma. Hopefully, I can get to that point, have grandkids, and tell them I did all of this, and be like super proud, and inspire them in a sense, and hopefully still do powerlifting if I'm 80, because it said so in the
You know,
newspaper.
yeah, that'd be amazing. I'll be long dead, but God bless. I hope you do. There'll always be a little bit of what if, I think. Like it'll
Yeah.
be satisfying, like you did amazing. But there'll always be a little something. You'll
Yeah.
always wonder, like, and that's good. That's probably not a bad thing. It keeps you
Yeah.
going. Now you're like, okay, I got some, I'm close enough. You could take that world record. I
You
want to
also
talk about
can't
the
get
future,
hubris.
actually. What's
Yeah.
that? Sorry?
You can also not get hubris, like, oh, what if
Yeah.
on everything? What if I could do 10 kilos more? Because sometimes you have to realize your limitations so you can get stronger as well. So you can't have all, you have to get those what if and want more, but you also have to be afraid that you start thinking that there's too much more, and all of a sudden you think you can do way more and start,
Start
don't
missing.
work hard.
You know what? Like, it's exactly what Muhammad Ali said is only when you lose do you know the full extent of your limits. And only then will you fully know. Because in the same thing, like to bring that back to the powerlifting, every time you hit a lift, you'll always be like, how much more than I have? Only when you finally tip over will you know what the limit was.
Yeah.
You only get to know that when you fail the lift, though. So it's like, it's a negotiation where it's like, well, just all right, whatever. You hung in the pocket. You did amazing. You don't know. You're not sure, but we'll see. Looking ahead. So how much? First off, you're staying 63.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Stay
Like
63.
I'm short. I'm only 5 feet. Like I think I can probably be in 63 for years. Like I'm not lean, I'm not super lean or super muscly either, or ripped in the 63s either. So I may be like tiny, like have muscle definition, when I'm down at 63 day off, but otherwise I hold a lot of water. So I think like I'm gonna be at 63 probably for a lot of years. It's hard for me to stay at 63. I can't do that because I hold a lot of water, but I think I can have so much room to grow in. I think most people my height are like 57s or 57s, like way fast, honestly. So I'm kind of
I,
short.
the, see, I thought I read somewhere somebody said you were going the 69 class. I'm like, really? She just is at a
Yeah, I was
moment.
gonna do maybe do Euros,
That's
junior
right.
Euros, and then I was like, I'm definitely not gonna do it. I was gonna do it 63 if Worlds went terrible to get like a little bit of a redemption.
Yeah.
But then if 63 went well, I was like, okay, then I won't do it. But then there was the possibility that I was allowed to go 69 as well, and I was like, if my total is better than the total in the 69 weight class at Worlds, which I was like, if then. I may go 69. But then I was talking to Joey and I have had 3 preps in a row. Like 3 competition in a row. I PR'd on all of them. Sometimes when in victory, you just need to know to stop. Sammy told me that. I did not take that quote, come up with that on my own. But so, sometimes, I think that if I'm gonna keep going now, I may risk an injury or something because it has been stressful. I've been sick more times than I have been before. I had got a problem with my skin because of stress. So it's been a lot. So I was like, okay, let's not do it. But Joey also got a lot of messages like she's doing 69 now because I was thinking about doing 69 at Euros. Because I try to do, if I don't need to cut down to 63, I'm gonna do 69 because
Yeah.
I don't want to cut too often.
So it'd just be not a cut, not like a move up, but it's just you'll
Yeah,
stay the same walking around body weight.
yeah,
You're just not going to cut maybe here and there.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Like I did
your
for junior nationals. I did 69 stand, for example.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, and your partner saying recognize when you won. That's Sun Tzu, The Art of War, where it
Yeah,
says, yeah, recognize when you won and stop there. In other aspects of life, so, kind of going back to psychology we said before, some people are ready to lose and win and just stop there. But if you rub salt in the wound or push it too far, now you give them back reason to
yeah.
come back.
It's more so
It's
like,
just
what
stop
if,
there.
yeah, what if, this preps goes way worse? What if, like, I injure myself or something? And it's like, I don't feel like my main goal is worlds. So I don't feel like I really need the Euros. Like previously, it was a big deal. I skipped Euros last year too, and I feel like it's not that important to me personally. I think it's a great meet, but it's not that important for me at least not in the juniors now. So I felt like, okay, it's not the biggest goal that I have. So, but it may be detrimental. Like, okay, I've done 3 preps in a row and it went perfectly, but I have injuries of the past. Like, what if something gets worse? Because, now I get hubris, whatever. And it felt like just better to, just have this month because it would be 4 weeks from now. Like it's such a short
Mm,
turnaround with Euros.
yeah.
So now instead I want to have 4 weeks of taking it a little bit easier because my body probably needs it. Because, for example, I've been getting sick. I've been getting skin issues, like on with just skin issues. And so it's like because I had that, I feel like okay, now I probably need to chill. My body's telling me it needs some time off so that I will be able to now go to open worlds in June. That's what's next. So, I want to actually build for that instead. So that's why I decided. But so I'm staying 63, 63.
So Worlds in June, 63. How much does it mean to have someone like Leah Babel come back? A legend like Megan, a legend like Leah. Like the 63s are hot again. This is like, we'll see when the Worlds comes around. I'm not gonna say it's the hottest division in the women's division, but it's gotta get close. Like
Yeah.
when Gara and Leah left, people will be like, oh, shit, those are two like superstars. Let me get my cat out of here. Those are two superstars in the game that had left the division. But your emergence, Megan Scanlon doing what she did, and the story behind Megan, and then Leah coming back. It's like the big division to be again.
Yeah. I am honestly so happy that Leah is coming down because just because, for me, when I started, like I said, I was close to like the 63 junior world record, and all of a sudden, Samantha came in and also Leah came in, and we're doing these crazy weights. So, I always looked up to Leah and always have. And, I always felt like she is the 63. Obviously, Carola Gara as well. I've been after Carola Gara's bench for world record in the juniors for ages, and that's why because it's been standing since 2017. So that's why I
Crazy.
was so happy that I had tears in my eyes going out to take that because I've been wanting to get it so long. But so they're absolute units, and I've been looking up to them, and especially Leah. So the fact that she's coming down, knowing what she did at 69, I think, she's gonna, and obviously Meg too is gonna increase. I think the standard for 63, like I said previously, is gonna get higher. But also, obviously, to be honest, Leah has been one of my goals. Like she's just like been a goal to, get as strong as she is. So I'm really happy that she's coming back because I heard in one podcast that she was on for, it was a while ago, but she was saying that she might go down to 63 sometime in the future. I was like, yes, okay, that means, because it would be just be an honor to compete against her. That would be a thing because, I always was, looking, being like a kid looking up. And, now all of a sudden, I'm not gonna go ahead and be like, oh, I'm on her level. But, now I'm at the open level that she's been at 63 at least. Although I think she definitely is gonna do better at 63 now after being 69 for a while. But no, rising to the level that she's been when she was a goal that was so far ahead, it's so motivating. So I'm really excited for that. When I found out she was gonna go down 63, I was like, yes. And
Yeah, I mean, it's
obviously Meg
huge.
too is super cool. Since she's had 2 kids and she's been getting stronger and stronger, also super nice. I met her at Open Worlds and yeah, she's super nice as well. So I'm really excited. And obviously the Italians, Chiara, Sarah Nolly, like
Oh
they're
yeah,
gonna get stronger. And I lost to them my first junior worlds in 2021.
right.
So, Chiara had that record all my junior worlds until now. She had the total record, junior record, for 63s. So, those two as well. So I think the 63s may become one of the hottest divisions, at least one of the closest. I think 63s can be the men's 93s, like in the
Ooh,
future.
could be.
And I definitely hope it will. But I think so because when I was thinking about open worlds, obviously Meg was ahead, but at the same time, I kind of like crunching everyone's numbers. If everyone had their best day, everyone could be close. And it was like 5 people if everyone had their best day. And I was like, how many weight classes in the women's have like 5 people that if everyone has their best day, you can't really tell who's gonna win. Yes, Meg was ahead, but it's the same time, like not everyone else is far behind, and that's really cool. So
Mhm.
I wanted to become the the men's 93s at least.
It's possible. I mean, it sways back and forth. I think the 84 plus in 2023, Malta was the hottest division for sure. Like that battle was amazing. there's a bit of a spread now with Sonia, what she did. And when I look at the women's division, 63s, if you see the cluster that's happening, you want star power, Leah Babla. You want the wily veteran who's been around for years, Megan Scanlon. She was in 2019 in battles for the world title and breaking world records. And then you want the young phenom in yourself, who's still a veteran though, but who's got everybody excited what she did in the juniors. And then there's yourself. And then of course the two Italians. And it's like Team Italy forever has a 63 in the game. It seems like now they got two of them. But yeah, it's stacked. And there's more. There's other 63s we're not thinking about, I'm sure. There's other 63s all over the place. But yeah,
For
it's
sure.
definitely one of the best divisions to watch. I'm excited to see it. But we'll see how it all unfolds. I'm eagerly anticipating your debut. When's your next competition, do you think?
I'm gonna do nationals in February.
Okay. So you got a
Um,
little bit of time, which is good.
yeah, Swedish national. Exactly. So I'm gonna do that in February. I don't know if I'm gonna do Euros. I think it's in March. I don't think so. I just started thinking about it, I think it was yesterday. I realized, oh, Euros it's then. Am I gonna do it? Because it's open Euros? Am I supposed to do it? So I haven't thought about that really. But I know for sure February nationals and then obviously open worlds in June.
Are you going to watch Sheffield?
Yeah, for sure. I watched the last two, so
Are you gonna be there live or watch it streaming?
I'll watch it the stream.
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I'm gonna have another travel, to because from Sweden it's hard to travel where I live. I live in the north. Malta it
Oh
took
yeah.
2 days because I have to first get to the capital and then we had to stay there at the hotel for one night and then we could go to Malta. So we always have to get
Mm.
to the capital and traveling in Sweden is even harder because you can only take one flight to the capital and then there's buses and trains and everything that you have to take. So in Sweden it's usually like at least a whole day of travel for me from like early morning to the night. So I don't want too much. It's already too hard to travel from here. And also
That's
I want to
fair
stay
enough.
in woods for a while for now.
That's fair enough. And who knows how it all plays out, but maybe you're going to be at Sheffield competing shortly anyways. I mean, you got to be in contention next year at Open Worlds. You're going to be in that discussion. But
Yeah, I definitely hope so. Of course, that's the goal. It's so amazing that powerlifting is like growing so much. And I remember being like, even though I don't make any money off powerlifting, I'm okay with living on the streets if that means I could do powerlifting. Like if I don't have it,
now
like
look,
I was okay with it. And now all of a sudden the sport is growing. There's sponsors, there's money in it, like it's growing. I basically almost live on it because I'm coaching. And it's like it's crazy.
you're living the dream. Listen, I got another podcast book, so I'm gonna have to let you go here. But honestly, this we could have went for another hour. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'm gonna have to have you back. We got to do it again. Congratulations on everything. We were gonna do a podcast before Junior Worlds and hype up the showdown. So I was thinking, because in my mind's eye, the showdown between you and Jad, or at least on the women's side, was probably the highlight. So I'm like, let's
Yeah,
hype it up. You know what? The way it all unfolded, Jad pulled out anyways, and your performance, we wouldn't have been able to talk about it before the fact. So it's like, this was
yeah,
even better. This was even better
yeah,
because we would have hyped up a showdown that didn't happen. And
yeah,
then we wouldn't have known everything you ended up accomplishing. So, anyways, I'm glad that everything worked
yeah.
out. Thanks for coming on. You're
Thank
great
you
on a
so much that
podcast.
I was allowed to be on. Honestly, thank you. I really appreciate it, and it's super cool as well. I have to
Oh,
say.
100%. We got to do it again. We got so much I still want to talk to you about like coaching and the whole freaking nine, but we'll do it again. We got plenty of time. So congratulations. Thanks for coming on. And for everybody listening, oh, sorry, let everybody know how they could reach you if they want to do coaching.
Yeah. So easiest way, I have a link in my bio. You can go to that. I have an English link at the moment, and I also have like a website for Swedish people. And we're gonna do a website for English as well. That's gonna be a little bit better. So you can get more information before scheduling like a call with me. Otherwise, you can always send a DM, or you can send an email to alba@albabostrom.com. So as well, if you would like to do so for more information as well. So that would be Would be
There
really
it is.
nice. And it's like a free call, so you don't have to decide if you want to do it beforehand. You can just be curious and talk to me. And if you don't like me, you don't like me, then you can say no.
You know, like, it's good to have websites and stuff, but honestly, people just come through to social media regardless what you tell them. They're coming
Yeah,
through the DMs because it's just the easiest way to access.
it
It's like
is.
I'm going to shoot it. You know what I mean? So it's good you have it in your social media. You have the link there because that's the way they're going to end up coming through. But
It is the
anyways, I bet you getting clients is going to be a lot easier now. What you're doing in terms of your profile and everything you're doing. I mean, it just makes everything so much easier after that. But yeah,
yeah.
congratulations on all the success.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me on. And thank you for taking the time as well. It was nice to talk to you. And it will be fun to be on again to keep on another hour.
100%. Yeah, for sure. We got a lot to catch up and more things will happen. And for everybody listening, as per usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings. And until next time, Six Pack Lapidat, six up, and we are out.